Hello, I'm Jason from StrataGames. Today we're playing some more Pauper. This is Black Sac, a deck that I've been obsessed with recently, and this is a different iteration of it slightly. This is a list played by Kelikis that got a trophy with this list last week, and it's playing one of the main cards that people have been suggesting that I add to the deck, which is Bone Picker. Now, I like Bone Picker a lot. I think it is a powerful card. I'm not sure if it should 100% be in the final version of this deck, but I want to try it out. To me, it looks a lot like a Delver of Secrets, not only because it's a 3/2 for 1 mana with flying, but also because it's the efficient, reliable early creature that you play in this deck, and then you have much larger creatures that you're trying to really win the game with, like in Mono Blue Terror. Your Serpents are the ones that are hitting much harder, but Delver of Secrets coming on turn 1 starts the damage rolling from as early as turn 2. So while our Carrion Feeders, Mortician Beetles, and Gixian Infiltrators can hit a lot harder than Bone Picker, it's possible that the fact that Bone Picker can come down as early as turn 1 in this deck is going to make it worth it. How does it come down in turn 1? How are we having the mana to pay for this, as well as having killed a creature? Well, Dark Ritual is being played in this deck. In fact, 4 of our lands are just cut. In place of them are Dark Rituals. I'm a little skeptical of this, I will say. This feels like it's going to make for a very luck-based game. If you get the Swamp Dark Ritual on turn 1 and are able to deploy a Bone Picker or 2, maybe 2 Mortician Beetles and a Carrion Feeder, you're going to have a really good game. But if you don't, it feels like it's going to be a lot harder to draw your swamps, obviously. And when you draw a Dark Ritual on turn 3 or 4, instead of a swamp, you're going to just wish it was a more sustainable mana source. So I'm not 100% confident this is the right way to play it, but this deck got a trophy, so I'm willing to give it a try, and for all I know, this will be the right way to go with it. I will say that how I've been playing Black Sac is very much an aggro deck, trying to win as fast as possible. That means Dark Rit and Bone Picker probably will fit into my playstyle of this deck a little bit more, whereas Love Crayons, who also plays a lot of this deck, seems to be a lot more content playing a slower game with the deck, and that often brings great results, so I'm not sure that's wrong, but might not be how I like to play the deck quite as much. So it's possible I'll like this Bone Picker Dark Rit combo more than I thought. But anyway, we're willing to give it a try. As far as fodder, we still have our Shambling Guests, Link Breakers, Infestation Sages, and Greedy Freebooters. We are only playing a 1 of Reaping the Graves. I know a lot of people have been concerned with the power of the Reaping the Graves. I haven't necessarily been able to show off its capabilities as much as I would like. I still think it's a powerful card, but we're just trying 1 of in this list. We have full 8 Corrupted Conviction / Village Rites, the 2 Snuff Out, and still 2 Unexpected Fangs in this list. Our sideboard has some known cards and some newer ones. Sylvok Lifestaff is one that I've been favoring and was in this list already. Tormod's Crypt for any graveyard hate, as opposed to the ones that draw you cards, just the 0 mana, since we're going as aggro as possible. We don't want to Dark Rit and then have to pay 1 mana to use our graveyard hate. That seems pretty bad. Apostle's Blessing is a little protection, more Snuff Outs, and other Fangs, and of course our playset of Mesmeric Fiends. I'm not sure there's a list out there playing this deck that is not going to want 4 Fiends in the sideboard. It's just a fantastic card. So let's take this list into a league and see how we do with it. In case you've been tossing and turning at night, wondering how on earth you can give me money, well, I have launched a Patreon account so that you can now support my Black Sac addiction and my new paper gameplay series, Pauper Airplane. There are a lot of cool perks like knowing what decks I'm currently brewing and testing, being able to submit a deck to see in a future video, and also being able to play Magic with me or even being coached by me. So if you have a couple dollars in your pocket that you know deep down deserve to go to a random Magic player on the internet, go ahead and check out the Patreon. We are on the play here, and this hand looks great. We have card draw, a payoff for sacking creatures, a creature to sacrifice, and then some nice lands. 3 lands in this deck is kind of insane to have in our opener. And to be fair, the Dark Rits is really what we're trying to test here. So this is definitely a hand that doesn't look like it's going to play out like the deck suggests it should. But anyway, we're going to get our Sage down first. This way, if we draw a Bone Picker, we could just Village Rites this and drop it right away. Island, let's just attack with Sage. If they're Fey, they might Brine Barrow, in which case we'll just Village Rites it away. Attack for 1, and if not, we'll just get in for a damage. I think we'll just play out our 2 creatures. Is there a reason I just maybe want to draw 2 cards here? If they tap out at the end step here, I could Village Rite so I don't get Spell Pierced, but I can also just play a Village Rites next turn and not get Spell Pierced. And if they're like Terror or something, then I kind of want the aggression as quickly as possible. Cycle Alorian, probably not Fey, leaning more towards Terror. And they get an Aquifer, so it could be Dimir Terror, could be Dimir Control, Dimir Fey. I'm going to sack. We already have 4 card draw in our hand. I think we'll just go to our turn. There's the Dark Ritual. If it was just a land, it wouldn't be much better, although maybe a little bit at this point. Maybe we can still get an explosive turn with it. We'll play our Swamp and swing for 3. I think we will throw one of these out here. If they are Fey, Dimir Fae, then they could definitely spell stutter this, which would be a little annoying. But if not, maybe they just counterspell it. They are. Okay. So in response to that, I am annoyed by that, but I'm going to draw off the Link Breaker. See if we got instant speed, kill this, and we did not. Snuff Out is the card. Okay, so that's annoying. I could just Dark Writ to play both of these. I don't think we need to do that. I think just getting the Beetle down is fine. Yeah, it's possible that I should have just left, just not cast either of those, since Fae was a possibility. We don't see too much Dimir Fae nowadays, that I was kind of thinking it was less likely, but got punished for that, so that's my mistake. I get a Lorien here, another Dark Ritual. I mean, this is basically just flooding out as if they were anything else. We will pump our feeder. We're gonna leave Insect back, but we'll swing here. If they block, if they block Beetle, I will sack the Mercenary and the Freebooter to grow the Beetle. Big enough to eat the Augur. They don't. Still want to sack the Freebooter. I want to scry. I want to stop drawing Dark Writs, preferably. It's a Shambling Ghast. Shambling Ghast is good against Spell Stutter, but we already have an Insect token. They're not going to have as much removal because usually this list plays 3 or 4 Snuff Outs. So this is going to be 3. I'm heading for 5 right now. I could hit for 7. I don't think we need a Ghast. I think we can get rid of that. And sacking the Mercenary gives us 2 extra damage here. Then these are both 3/3s, which they'll need to be anyway. I guess we just hit for 5. Play a Modern Age. Okay. So this could be more contemporary, Sneaky Snacker, like Dimir Control, and just happens to play the Spell Stutters and the Sneaky Snackers, which means they probably don't have ninjas. So I probably don't need to be as worried about the Spell Stutter, so maybe I can attack with this Insect. There's our very cheap 3/2 that we definitely can't just hardcast. So I could pump the Insect, but they're probably just going to block here anyway. So I probably just pump one of these in case they don't block it. And I think we are going to assume they have no ninjas. So I'm going to go on the offensive with the Insect. And we're going to have the Bone Picker to block anyway. But yeah, they're just going to trade, block here. So I can sack this Mercenary for 1 more damage. I think it's fine though. And we'll play a Bone Picker. I mean, Bone Picker doesn't look bad here. It does just trade with a Modern Age that's flipped. So we're only going to get 1 attack in from it before it just trades. They're going to get back 2 Snackers here, I would assume. They just need to draw 1 more card. Augur Bolas, okay. It's another blocker. It's a Brainstorm. Alright, so they're bringing back Snick Snack to the 2nd power. But they're tapped, so we can get in a big hit here, potentially. Depending on what their last card is. They might just hold up a Cast Down, maybe an Agony Warp. We continue flooding. I could attack with this, as opposed to pumping, because if they block, I'll just sack it, and then that's 9. I'm sure they have a Cast Down, but that's fine. I'll still get it for 6. Or I could just pump the Bone Picker, but then they can take out the Bone Picker, which is fine, because the Bone Picker's going to get blocked by all of these. So yeah, actually, I don't mind if they kill the Bone Picker here. And this gives us the power from the Mercenary, as well as the power even if we to sacrifice it. So potential to deal an extra damage this way. They just have another Spell Stutter. I mean, I like that a lot better than a Cast Down. That just chumps. Bone Picker, block the Beetle, so we will sacrifice the Mercenary to eat the Augur. Deal them 3, eat 2 of their guys, which looks like it puts us in a good position, but they are at 4 cards in hand, about to have 3 untapped 2-power flyers. So, gonna get really hard to do anything here. I have a fear that we're just not gonna be able to hit them ever again. Maybe they could have still had removal, I guess, and just didn't want to use it on the Bone Picker. Thorn of the Black Rose. Yeah, I mean, they also think that they can keep us from hitting them. This trades with one of these, this trades with this, and they could double block this. We need a good draw, and also for it to not get countered. Fangs is not really where we wanted to be, but I don't think we can sit back. If we sit back, there's no way we win by letting them gain more card advantage and have more untapped mana up. So we'll just jam. Try to take advantage of maybe a double block here or something. Yeah, so I will Fangs on the Bone Picker to try to survive this. And then this trades for both of these, this trades for these. And then I have a Bone Picker that dies when they Brainstorm these both back. But sacrificing any of these doesn't feel good because then we're just not taking out more of their guys. So I think this is what we got. If their entire hand is lands, maybe we're okay here. No Brainstorm's nice. Maybe their whole hand is lands. Corrupted Conviction. Hey, if they kill this, that's not a bad draw. Oh my gosh, we actually hit them. So they're at 2, and we got the Monarch. This is actually so good. And another Bone Picker. I definitely thought that they, like, just a simple Brainstorm pretty much loses us the game. But yeah, it looks like they're out of gas. Nice! I mean, they drew poorly. 6 cards in hand and nothing to cast is rough, but we also are just amazing. This is definitely one where I understand the idea of the Tormod's Crypts. I would much prefer a Rotten Reunion because, assuming they're not playing Terror, which I don't think this version of the Dimir deck plays Terror, I'd much rather just have Rotten Reunion to make tokens, instant speed, and pick off the couple snackers I care about as opposed to bringing in a full Tormod's Crypt that is, like, okay against a snacker or two, but not amazing. I don't think Mesmeric Fiends are necessary as they're not control. Or rather, they're not combo. They are control. Oh, I will say they also could have just had like 2 or 3 snuff outs in hand, because a lot of times these decks run a lot of snuff outs. My snuff outs don't feel amazing. I can hit a Vector Glider or a Spell Stutter, so that's not bad. In general, I think Unexpected Fangs would be bad in this matchup, but it does make it so our Bone Pickers survive against any of their flyers, which I like. Reaping's definitely staying in. Not sure exactly what their sideboard's going to look like. Took a quick look at Barf's list online, which is the pretty stock list. And this looks like a match that's really good for us simply because their main removal is Snuff Out. Otherwise, for his main list, there's 3 Cast Down, a Suffocating Fumes, and sideboard Extract, Confession, and Arms of Hadar. Maybe the Extract gets us. But I don't think we need... Like, I'll take some Protection, maybe instead of 1 Fangs. I really don't think we need that many. We'll keep 1, I guess. We'll just do this. Otherwise, the main deck looks pretty solid. I don't think I want a ton of Snuff Out, but I don't mind a couple. This hand looks fine. A lot of card draw. Do need to find another creature to rights. That's okay. I'm gonna get down Ghast first, so that if on turn 2 I cast something and they try to Spell Stutter it, I can in response Village Rites kill the Spell Stutter. I cycle Alorian. Snuff Out also helps get rid of a Spell Stutter. Swing for 1. I also could just have a counter spell, but I'm gonna lead on the Carrion in case it's a Spell Stutter. It is, and let me Village Rites this Ghast away, pick off the Spell Stutter, and keep our feeder around. Reaping's not bad, nor is a Bone Picker. They got a Modern Age, there goes the Snacker, Carrion Feeder. This is a turn I wouldn't have minded a Dark Rit, or even just another land, because I could play Sage, but I really want to get Bone Picker down. So I could play Sage and just sacrifice it, and then play a Bone Picker. That's actually not bad. I wanted to do the Village Rites, but actually, this is solid too, I think. I'll keep the Sage token around as more aggression, honestly, but also just fodder. So hit for 2, and play a Bone Picker. I mean, this is nice. Having a Bone Picker here, like, if that was a Mortician Beetle, could be doing a lot more damage in a couple of turns, but we don't have the heaviest sacrifice hand. So having just a more reliable 3-2, I kind of like the look of it, for sure. They whiff on Augur of Bolas because this card is trash, I say, because I always whiff on it. There's the Dark Rit. Don't really need it now, but it can be good. This is one thing I was excited about. Dark Rit into Reaping the Graves is kind of nice. 1, because we don't need more than 1 mana to do it, but also it adds to our storm count. So I could, like, Village Rites, Dark Rit, Reaping, and get back 3 guys. Currently we only have 2. Also Snuff Out adds to the storm count a little bit. They have been leaving up 1. Could just be awkward mana, but it's also a possibility that they discarded a spell, so it's possible they have another one or they have a Spell Pierce. They're about to have a 2-3, so I think sacrificing this token to this is fine. So I think we're just swinging for 6 here. They're going to block. I could go for a Fangs, but I don't really want to use my whole turn doing that. So we'll just sack here and deal them 3, eat their Augur. Play a Carrion Feeder, and I think we just pass, unless I want to Village Rites this away. But if in case they kill this feeder, I kind of want to have another one. I don't know. They get their Vector Glider. 4 mana for Murmuring Mystic. That seems easy to kill. I could sacrifice this feeder to this feeder, and then Dark Rit, Reaping back the 3 creatures in the grave, and Snuff Out. I mean, there's only 3 creatures to get, not 4, but I do that, and then I go with a big attack here, they block. I probably just Fangs it. I use our whole turn, and then we have all these guys not doing anything in our hand, which I don't love. So I could just save Dark Rit for this turn. I'm wasting a mana here, though. This Carrion Feeder's not getting through, really. I think we're just going to Village Rights this on the end step. Okay, kind of looking for more lands. Convictions are not bad. We have a lot of card draw. I could play a Link Breaker and then attack. They block here. I Dark Writ Fangs, and then I can also Conviction this. We're also snuffing this out for sure. We should just do that now so it can't block. We're definitely Fangs this, assuming they block. If they don't, we're fine. So I guess we attack just in case they don't, but we'll play the Link Breaker in case we do want to. Because I don't think we just want to do this, so like just the Fangs this turn feels bad. So if they go for it, then I'll go for the Dark Writ. I guess we might as well Conviction first. Another Dark Writ. I don't think I need that. I think I'll use that next turn. Pump here, hit for 3, and pass. I mean, that being a land wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but all right, we got a quick win on match 1. All right, we have the turn 1 Bone Picker, and by that I mean we have a Bone Picker in our opening hand, but we can't play it on turn 1. The hand looks okay still. Corrupted Conviction helps. Turn 1, play a Freebooter. Turn 2, Conviction it. And play a Bone Picker is worst case. We're on the play. We're going to keep it. No Dark Writ is unfortunate. Like, Dark Writ right here would be really good, of course. That's the goal. We would play it 3 mana, Bone Picker. No. We'd play a Mortician Beetle, Freebooter, and then Corrupted Conviction the Freebooter. Grow the Beetle, and then play a Bone Picker. So we'd have 5 power for the next turn. That seems solid. If we got it next turn, we could still do about the same. And also deploy one of these guys. Epicure looks like mono red. Another Swamp's fine. So we attack, get in for 1, corrupted this. No, play a Beetle, then corrupted it, then play a Bone Picker. They just die to bolts, but that's, that's how it goes against red. So I think it's fine. We will draw 2. Scry another Bone Picker, so I could play both of those this turn. That seems solid to me. Another Village Rights isn't bad either. All right. This is also possibly, we've had some trouble with Kuldotha since I've been playing a list that has Sylvok Lifestaff main deck. It's been quite a bit better, but it's possible the Bone Pickers will help this matchup. Again, they could just send 2 bolts at them and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And Tomb Raider does just trade, but our clock is quite a bit faster here, so I'm not going to trade this, I don't think. We just have trump blockers for the Tomb Raiders. So if they swing here, I'll take 2. They want to bolt one of these down, I still have 3 on them. Or they have the Kuldotha. Okay. That means a Bushwhacker does hurt. Another Swamp's nice, though. So I could play just our 3 creatures. I could play 2 of our creatures and a Village Rights. But I'm kind of expecting a Bushwhacker, which means we'll want to have as many blockers as possible. Block 3 with the Beetle. We'll take 6 still. I don't want to trade these for these guys, though. So we're taking 6, trading off most of our guys, but then we get replacement guys most of the way. Plus, we just get in for a bunch here. So then the Festivities is always a little annoying against us, and it would be here, but 2 of our guys replace themselves, so it's not the end of the world. So I think we're just doing this, and we're trying to kill them faster than they can kill us in the air. They have a Lackey, that's fine. There's another guy, but no Bushwhacker. Okay, that's great. Love to see it. Does that mean I can keep the Beetle back? Beetleback Chief, isn't that a card? Yeah, so we just trade for these 2. We take 4. We're at 13 there. We get 2 more guys, then we can Village Rights one of these away, hit for 8. I think this is fine. We get a couple replacements, and they pass. Another Swamp's not great, but I can buff up this Beetle, draw 2 cards, another Beetle and another Rights. So I can play Beetle. I probably hold up the Rights with this Insect so I can like block, and then grow. Let's play this first though in case we want to, like if they have a Galv Blast on this Beetle, I can Village Rights in response. Also, if they have a Galv Blast on one of these. So I'm hitting for 10 here. Oh, 10, or 9, 10, if I sack 11, so not quite lethal. So we might as well leave back the Insect, I think. But I do like hitting with the Beetle as a little bit extra damage. I guess if these both survive, I'm kind of expecting a bolt on them though, at least one of them. So I'll probably Village Rights one of them away, assuming they try to kill it. They don't, they just go to 4. Okay, we're gonna play our Swamp in case we draw something that, like another Village Rights. We're gonna try to survive this turn, is the goal. They have another Lackey. That's not too bad for us. They're gonna swing out. I mean, we're gonna block. I guess we might as well block here and block here. We're taking 1, 2, 3. So we're at 10. They have to have 10 damage with like 2 card draws from one of their lackeys. So I think this is fine. We're just gonna Village Rights away the Insect, grow this Beetle to eat the Tomb Raider, and we get another Conviction. Nice. Show us what you got. Chain lightning to the dome. Don't think that's going to cut it. Nice. Pre-board. That was fantastic. We get our life staffs and we get our fangs. Take out the snuff outs. And yeah, that was one that the bone picker really shined, because not having to invest a bunch of sacks to get them to be a reasonable clock was really helpful, because the fact that they only had one removal spell that whole game also helped us, of course. But just putting a lot of sacrifices into a Carrion Feeder that then just dies to a bolt makes it really hard to get them. And also the flying, super relevant there, because they could not just chump block. So yeah, I'm liking the bone pickers so far, I gotta admit. Do we just cut the reaping? Sometimes it's good, even against mono red, when we get to a board stall, but I guess that happens less maybe with the bone pickers. Apostle's Blessing is a weird one, because I almost like it because it protects one of our guys, and it can also give unblockable, but it also loses us 2 life. So I'm not confident that's a good one for this match, but it's possible in a race we can go down to 2 if we have a 10-10 to hit them with. I think for now we'll just cut a freebooter and run it back like that. This one looks decent. Another one-lander, but Shambling Ghasts are quite potent against mono red. Village Rites can hopefully draw us out of this. This just trading for 2/3 of a Kuldotha or 2 Voldarn Epicures. Anything like that is pretty powerful. Epicure turn 1, they also mulligan, so a little bit of a benefit for us there. We draw the Dark Writ, so I don't have a great start. Honestly, without the Bone Pickers, it feels like the Dark Writ's not as good, because what do? I could play a Shambling Ghast, a Mortician Beetle, Village Rites the Ghast. I could make a Treasure and then play the other Ghast. I have a 2/2 Beetle that still dies to a Bolt, or even a Galvanic, and then I have a Ghast. But I did draw 2 cards, so it's not like I'm down. I could also just play out a Gixian Infiltrator and a Mortician Beetle, but then if we don't draw another land, that's not great. Also, those die to and end the festivities, which they might have brought in. So that seems bad. I think we do it. It's not going to be not good for us. It's just not like phenomenal without the bone pickers. I think we'll start with, well, Gaston Rites, but I want to have the beetle down before I sacrifice. So I think we'll just do these 3. And I could just pick off the Epicure, which I think is probably the thing to do. Because if I just make a treasure and then play a Ghast, it's not doing us much good. But if I make a treasure next turn, no, I think we just take down the 1/1. The likelihood of them having a removal spell for this beetle is pretty high. So I think taking out the 1/1 is not bad. We do get a bone picker, but no more mana to cast it. If we knew we were getting a bone picker, I would have made the treasure for sure, but obviously we had no way of knowing that. It's something that maybe I could have just hedged for, like, oh, if we get a bone picker, the treasure is really good, but didn't necessarily think about it there. They're attacking with a lackey, and not just bolting this. That means they probably brought in Electrickery, because they can first strike damage and then Electrickery. So I think I'm just taking 1 and playing in my mind is that if they have Electrickery now. Not sure what other reason they would have to make this attack but not just kill it first, because if they have an End the Festivities, well, they're throwing this away, unless they're bluffing and really don't think I'm going to block, which is a possibility. We get another beetle, and this is where the Dark Writ hurts. Obviously, we had a cool turn 1, but another land would just be pretty good. They do have the Lightning Bolt, and we don't have the sack for it, so we're just going to let that go. And oh, well, they did make a creature die, so I guess we'll play a Bone Picker. That's not too bad, actually. Otherwise, we were going to play a Ghast. If they just bolt this, so be it. But if not, there's a Kuldotha. They still are attacking with the lackey. I gotta assume it's Electrickery, I think. This also blocks these better, and at least trades even with an Electrickery. So I think we play a Ghast. Question is, do we attack? They're going to keep attacking with this. Well, they're going to keep attacking with the whole board. So if I block, I take 2. If they have the Electrickery, well, if they're smart, once I've blocked, they'll do it before this deals damage. So I'll still only take out 2 if I do that, but I'll probably make a treasure. I think this slows them down enough. I think we're just attacking with this guy. I think we're racing here, and with just the bone picker, and basically everything else we deploy is going to be defenses. I think that's what we're doing. This is bad if they get a bushwhacker, but I'm already counting on the fact that their last card is Electrickery, and so they have to top deck the bushwhacker in my mind. We're just going to trade this for 2 goblins, go down to 14. I could make a treasure, but then what am I doing with that treasure? Probably playing out 2 of these guys, which will then end up just trading with the goblins. So I might as well just, unless I really want to get these guys down, which is also fair, I think I might as well just ping off one of them. They crack the lackey. Okay, I don't mind that. They go for more burst damage than sustainability. We just got a Sage here. 3 damage. Hey, now we're even, and we have more cards than them, although fewer lands. They have a Tomb Raider, another Rebirth, and the Festivities. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. I mean, I was wrong, but I wasn't too far off. But the fact that they were willing to throw away the Reckless Lackey and the Festivities for just one of these guys is interesting to me. So I kind of like having this 4 power in the air, but if we take 3 here and we're at 10, and they have 6 more, that's kind of a lot pretty quickly. So I think we're trading this off. Fangs, as soon as we get a land, this is really good. Until then, we are continuing to play 1/1s and attack for 3, I think. This might be the turn to hold it back, actually. Because if I trade off one of these and eat one of these, it's not bad. Whereas if I just block here, I go down to 7. Yeah, I maybe should have held back that turn, especially because we don't know if we're getting to the Fangs anytime at all. And now if they just draw like another burn spell, we might be in a tough spot. Now, though, play Link Breaker. I have 2 blockers. Block if I really want. Only take 1. I think I should have left this back last turn, but since I didn't, I think I do attack with it this turn. Because we're still kind of in a racing situation. Swing with the crew. So if they have 2 lightning bolts, I need to block this Tomb Raider. Well, no, if they have 2 lightning bolts, it doesn't matter. I block here, and I die. But if they have a bolt and a galvanic, if I block both the goblins, I'll die. I think I block a goblin and the Tomb Raider, and the next turn I can still block both of them. So yeah, that reduces damage as much as possible. So this way I'll die to 2 bolts, but I won't die to a bolt and a galvanic. Carrion Feeder. If I want to go for the win next turn, I can mercenary up this Bone Picker, or rather I could just attack with both of these. Hit for 4. I could play a Beetle, chump. We're down to 5, and if they can't kill us from 5, next turn I can hit for another 4 in the air. Carrion Feeder doesn't do really anything here. It doesn't block, so I'm not doing that. The alternative is I could leave these back, but then I'm going to have to chump this or trade. Or I could just attack with this, leave up the Mercenary. But then I'm on a 3-turn clock. I don't think that's as good. So I think I'm attacking with both. I'm not going to buff because if they have a bolt and have to use it, I'd rather they still take 1. But if they have a bolt, I'm assuming they're going to hold it. We die to a lot here for sure. But I think this gives us a decent chance of winning. They have a Synth, scary. Into a Galvanic Blast, also scary. They don't have the treasure or the lands for it yet, but they're just going to the face. That means they probably have another Galvanic and a Bolt. Or I guess just a Bolt does it now because we block here. They have a Fire Blast. Okay. Man, never got to that second land for the Unexpected Fangs. They could deal 1 more damage here, so even if we had left back that Bone Picker that 1 turn, we would have taken 1 less damage, but we would have killed 1 more Goblin, but we never let another Goblin through. No, we did. It might have saved us the game there, for sure. That was a close one. Pretty unfortunate. On the play here, we have Dark Writ, Bone Picker, but no way to sacrifice anything turn 1. We have a Fangs. Oh. Because all we can do then is what? Dark Writ into 3 1/1s? Or we could Dark Writ into a 1/1 and give it Fangs, but that seems bad. I guess we Dark Writ into 3 1/1s. We started a little bit of beatdown pretty quick. When one of them inevitably trades with one of their creatures, we play a Bone Picker. And then we can get a Fangs eventually. It's not great. Not as good as it could be, but we're going to do it. Play 5 of our 7 cards on turn 1. This feels weird. And the Festivities would be pretty annoying too, I will admit. Tomb Raider's fine though. It does blank my attacks, except for Shambling Ghast. Village Rites. I can Village Rites the Ghast to make a treasure to play the Bone Picker, or I could just swing with the team. Whatever they block, I Village Rites. But if I don't get a land, I can't play the Bone Picker, so that seems worse. So I guess we'll just swing with the Ghast. Get in for 1. Village Rites it away. Make a treasure. Get a Beetle and a Conviction. If we can get a Bone Picker and are lucky enough to make it so that they don't have removal, and then we also get another land, we can get this Fangs going. Seems unlikely. There's a Tomb Raider though. They tapped pre-combat and then untapped. I kind of assume they're going to Kuldotha this, but they want to get their power in first, so I can double block to trade for 1. These guys replace themselves. I think that's right. I could just trade here, but I feel like the Bone Pickers are supposed to be on offense, especially with an Unexpected Fangs. Maybe we're supposed to get a Beetle going, though, but I think we're doing it like this. The Dark Rit turns generally feel good, although that one didn't feel amazing, but with having only one land for pretty much the whole game as opposed to just the first couple of turns has felt pretty bad. They just bolt the Bone Picker. Fair enough. Couldn't stop that anyway. Trade for a Tomb Raider, make some 1/1s. A land would let us at least beetle Conviction here, but no. So we smack for 2 and then draw 2 with the Conviction, I think. Conviction away the Mercenary. This deck just has no lands. How do you do this? I'm gonna lose to Mono Red. And Sylvok Lifestaff is 1 mana and 1 mana, but it's very mana intensive because you want to keep re-equipping. So it's not looking great right here. I feel like this Dark Rit plan is probably good against most decks, admittedly, because it's very proactive. But against Mono Red, which is the only deck one of the only decks that's faster than us, it seems very bad because if we at any point lose the aggression, we're just, oh, we don't have any lands. And then they have to end the festivities. This will make a treasure here. And they chain lightning us. We're taking 4. We had that game 2 was really close. And this one's less so, but oh, there's a land. I mean, I think I just play a Nezumi Link Breaker, equip it with a Life Staff. I hope they don't have anything. They have to trade these. I gain 3. That's what we're doing. I think it's fair to say that if that Dark Ritual was a land, this would have been a lot better of a match for us. The fact that we got those 3/1/1s on turn 1 basically didn't do anything for us. Obviously, if we had gotten the Bone Picker, it would have been a little bit of a different story, but still, if they just bolt it, it's not a big difference. But getting the 3/1s didn't matter, and not having a second land was severely detrimental. They have a Bushwhacker, which is just lethal. Unless, it's not lethal actually if I block here, because they first strike this down, I'll gain the life, and then I'll survive. So I guess I got to do that. Block the only one I can't trade with. But I guess if we're playing to win, that's what we got to do. A Fangs on a Mercenary. Blocking this would keep us alive. I guess if I do this, block here again, I can maybe survive. I don't think this is a winning strategy, but it is a non-losing strategy. All right, and the festivities is going to clean it up. We have a mulligan here into, I think, a keep, but pretty bad without the Bone Picker getting down. I guess if they play something we can kill on turn 2 or 1, we could get a Bone Picker or 2 down. We're gonna try this one. And if we just draw a sack effect for the Shambling Ghast, we can get these guys down. Carves plays a lot of Mono Blue Terror, I believe. Conviction's not bad. There's a Lorien. We're gonna pass. I could go for the Conviction, and I could double Bone Picker. That's actually not bad. I was thinking I'd just get 1 down, but I can make the Treasure. And if they counter the Conviction, obviously I don't love that, but it's also not bad bait to get through 2 Bone Pickers. So I think we're just going to go for it. Make a Treasure. If they have a Spell Stutter here, I can snuff it out. They just counterspell. Perfect. We would now like to play 2 3/2s with Death Touch. They line up very nicely against Terrors because Terrors can't block us, but we can block and trade with them. They have a Brainstorm. Careful Study. Okay. Mental Note and a Deep Analysis. And there's a Terror. A Dark Ritual. Well, I can just snuff this out. I could also Dark Ritual to get this Link Breaker down, but I don't think I need to do that. I think we're just going to snuff out the Terror. Of course, it doesn't interact with our Bone Pickers, but it's possible if they play another Terror or 2 this turn, they could beat us in the race, for sure. There's a Serpent, for example, and a Terror. Freebooter. We do just get to chump block both of these, I think. So I don't mind that. We'll swing for 6, play a couple chump blockers, and pass. I think let's see, they have a Deep Analysis. If they do that, though, they speed up their clock, so they can't really afford to Deep Analysis unless they have a removal for at least one of these Bone Pickers. They could Deep Analysis, which would give them the card draw for a 1-mana Demon Inferior, which wouldn't be terrible. Also, they are casting it. If they're just desperate, then they're going to try for it anyway. Careful Study. See if they find the 1-mana removal spell. Sleep of the Dead would also save them for a turn. They did not. That was a nice start with the Bone Pickers, I gotta say. This is one where we get snuffs out. Could do Apostle's Blessing. Obviously, a lot of their removal is counter spells, but they do have sleeps and Deem Inferior or Boomerang something usually. Also just makes it unblockable. I think that we definitely bring in 4 Tormod's Crypt, though. We can pretty efficiently just set back their graveyard forever. Fangs is tough because it's really good sometimes. Like, you know, a 6/6 lifelink carrion feeder against a 5/5 terror is great, but I'm not sure it's really something we need. Like, it does make it also so that if they just flood the board with guys, we can still race them. Even if we threw it on like a bone picker and we're hitting for 4 in the air lifelink, that's a big swing. But we also need to cut some stuff here. I could just not put in snuff outs, but that seems wrong. It's possible, though, that we just want to chump block them. Another one of my problems with Dark Ritual using places of lands is I don't feel like I can ever cut them even when they're bad. I'm not saying they're bad here, because if we got like a turn 1 or 2, you know, a couple bone pickers as we did, it could be really effective. But just you know, I guess we would never cut lands anyway, so maybe it's just the same. I will say, I almost don't want to cut the freebooters because they make that turn 2 bone pickers possible over the double body creatures. And I like sages for flying, so it's possible that the link breakers are the worst in this match, when usually or rather in this deck, when usually I think the freebooters are the worst, but this might be a time to cut these guys. Although if we're cutting that many creatures and not bringing any in, I might cut 1 conviction, just so I don't get stuck with them. I think that's okay. This hand is interesting. We have a Snuff Out and a Tormod's Crypt, so they're going to have trouble getting their creatures down to stick. But our creatures aren't great, because if we turn 1 a Carrion Feeder, turn 2, unless we're sacking it to itself, we're not getting a Bone Picker down. Or if they play like a Delver, I could snuff it out and play a Bone Picker. But I think the Tormod's is pretty good. I think we're going to keep this one. Of course, we're on the draw, so Tormod's could just get Spell Pierced, but we will see. Can't get Spell Pierced if they Careful Study. That's good. Sneaky Snacker and an Aquifer. Oh, they're not mono blue at all. I guess that could have been partially why things were weird. Another Tormod's is fine, but not really necessary. But we will be casting one of these and get down a... Oh, so that's also possible why they didn't have any removal and need Demon Furiers, because they needed... they didn't even have swamps, but also they would have needed Snuff Outs, or rather, Snuff Outs wouldn't have worked. I think we just start with a Carrion Feeder. On the off chance we want to sack it to itself for the Bone Picker or some other reason, I think it's fine. If they go for a draw 3, we'll just Tormod's Crypt to get rid of the Snacker. Freebooter here. Okay, so I can play that. If it doesn't get countered, I can sack it and then Bone Picker. I think that's decent. So let's attack. Bone Picker probably gets countered, but I don't think that's a reason not to do this. We'll see what I scry. Swamp. I think we're almost getting to the end of playable, like playing things with swamps, but I'm going to keep the second one for sure. Hit for 2. I don't really want to walk into a counterspell here, so I don't think we're playing this Bone Picker. I think next turn we can still play all 3 of these potentially, although I guess I'd have to kill something again, the Bone Picker. But it feels like pretty foolish to just walk into a counterspell right here. Maybe I should have played a Mortician Beetle then, but I could have gotten countered as well. A Mental Note, hit a Lorien, 1, 2, 3, 4 spells. So I probably am going to need to blow up the graveyard before next turn, because that would be when they could actually cast creature. See if they counterspell anything here. I'll play a Mortician Beetle. That gets countered, which means Bone Picker's still 4, because nothing's died yet. We play a Carrion Feeder. Is it worth sacking the feeder to itself to get a 3/2 flyer, knowing that they're probably not getting snackers for a while because of my Tormod's Crypts, and a 1/1 doesn't do us too much good? I think it is worth it. I think we're going to sack this, play a Bone Picker, attack for 3. We're going to cast a Tormod's Crypt, and I guess we probably should have just blown up one of these on our turn, because if they have a Brainstorm in response here, then they get their snacker back, so that was a mistake. I was thinking, hey, if they cast anything in their upkeep, like a Brainstorm, which is relevant, then maybe it's better to do it now, but that was probably not the right call. They do Thought Scour and hit another snacker. We have the Tormods. Swamp is not great, but we have 6 damage here. Definitely feeling like getting this picker down was right. Once again, they're off black mana. I guess we'll play this. It's possible that the black is only a splash for the snacker, and so it's more of a mono blue splash black deck, and then the Aquifer is, you know, maybe a 1 or 2 of for the Lorians. But I don't know. If they want to pay 5, they can cast a Serpent here. Yep. And then I can just snuff it out. We'll pay the mana. Another snuff out in case they get another one down is pretty good. And we'll attack for 6. Put them to 3. They Mental Note. Hit a Mystic. No other spells. So 1, 2, 3. And they concede. All right. We're able to get the nice 2-0. Here we are again. We have the Dark Writ into Bone Picker turn 1 with Corrupted Convict. So we can turn 1 Dark Rit, Carrion Feeder, Freebooter. We could do Sage and Bone Picker if we want to sack this for the treasure to the feeder. I mean, we're keeping this regardless. We're also on the play, so this looks like a pretty good hand against them, whoever they are. So let's do the old Dark Rit. I want to get a feeder down growing. Freebooter for sure. So the question is, do I just want to sack this to this guy to get him big, or do I want to draw some cards? I guess we want to draw cards in case they play an island and hold up a Spell Pierce. So I'll just sack this. Scry another Bone Picker. We have the feeder, so we can just make sure to play that next turn. Is pretty good. Oh, I guess that was a huge mistake. If we just played the Freebooter and the Conviction first, we could play 2 Bone Pickers now. And then we'd have a faster clock. Based on my hand, the feeder looked really good, but yeah, I should have thought about the possibility of getting the Bone Picker down. They have Arbor Elf. That means they could get some stuff going. A Shamblagast would be a great draw. Pick off the elf. We do only have 1 mana, actually, so I guess the feeder would have to sack itself to get a Bone Picker down, which is kind of awkward. Or I could just play a Sage this turn, which can grow the feeder itself, so we can hit for 5, and the next turn I can sack the 1/1 to play the picker. We just need a fast start, because as soon as they get down like Chrysalises, I mean, they still have Death Touch, so it's not bad, but it's less good. So if I hit for 4, they're at 16, I play a Bone Picker by sacking the feeder to itself, then I have 6 in the air. That's a 3-turn clock. But losing our feeder seems really bad when we have these 2 guys. I think I'm going to play the Sage. It's slightly slower, but I think safer, which apparently is where I'm choosing to be. We're going to sack the Sage to hit for 5. Now, if they do Utopia Sprawl into a Chrysalis this turn, I definitely would prefer the Pickers because the Carrion Feeder can't really get in. They just play a Repurposer, though. That's fine. So Picker's still good. Insect can get in, and this Feeder can't really get in because I don't want to sack 2 guys to trade with this, or rather 1 guy just to trade or 2 guys to keep it alive. I could play another Sage, but I think I just attack for 4 and then upgrade my Insect into a Bone Picker. That seems solid. And I think this is definitely a match we'd prefer to be in the skies. They have a good amount of reach between Nyxborn Hydras, Chrysalises, and potentially Altasaurs, but if they don't happen to have those cards right now, then this is definitely the way we want to be. And even if they do, these have Death Touch, so they'll still have to trade. They have the Hydra for 2 on this spawn, so it's just a 2/3, but that's enough to trade with a Bone Picker twice. Yeah, Hydra's a pain, dude. We need a way to grow these, but even a Fangs wouldn't do it because we don't have the mana for it. I could play a Link Breaker or Sage and just swing with the team. We're going to trade off a Bone Picker. We get in for 3. We also have the Feeder. They're probably going to block with the Repurposer, but we can sack the Sage so we don't lose it. I think that's fine. A little annoying, but I think getting in for the 3 damage here is decent. If we find like a Snuff Out, we can take out the Nyxborn for next turn, so we can still maybe keep a Bone Picker. They just block here. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9. Put them to 2. I mean, I think we make the flyer, so we put him down to 4, and then trade here. Yeah, I think that's fine. That does make it so a Snuff Out is lethal if they don't have any other reach. They have another Hydra. Well, aren't they lucky? That means we can't get in with either of our flyers. I mean, we can still swing with this, but trading for this isn't great. Swamp's not bad. So I could play a Beetle and a Link Breaker, and that makes it so Feeder could be a 7/7 if I just attack with that. I guess they block here and here, and I have to make it an 8/8, which means I'd have to sack the Beetle. If they block with everything, I can make it an 8/8, eat both of their Hydras. So I don't think they're going to do that. I think more likely they're just going to jump with the Repurposer. Because if we get rid of the Hydras, we're in a fine spot. So I think this is what we're doing. Keeping the Bone Picker around, swinging with the Carrion this turn. Yep, just jump with the Repurposer, make a spawn. They have a boarding party into an Arbor Elf. That's a blocker, but not too bad. I mean, it does jump the Feeder, which is a little annoying. I get to swing for 3. I think we're probably sacking this Link Breaker anyway, or do I want to wait for this Infiltrator? 6 is a lot to take, but I do kind of want to wait for this Infiltrator to grow more. Yeah, it's fine. I'll take 6. Another Swamp. Now we're flooded. Look at all these lands. Play Infiltrator. Swing with the Feeder. Then we have blockers. They're probably going to jump with a Spawn or an Arbor Elf, I would guess. Those are their main options, for sure. Sack the Spawn. Do it. Oh, no. Okay. I guess we'll pass. They have an Avenging Hunter. Okay, that's gonna be tough. They're gonna have a lot of trample if they start going on the offensive. I find them offensive as is. Sack Link Breaker, so we have a mercenary token. That doesn't really matter. I guess it could. It could be 1 damage that matters, sure. We'll sack it. Grow the team a little bit. If we draw really well, it's possible this 1 damage will matter. I mean, currently we have as many attackers as they have. No, they have more blockers. Unfortunate. No, because we're making a mercenary, so we do have as many attackers as they have blockers. Get a removal spell or something. Another feeder doesn't do too much. So we attack with this feeder, probably eats an Arbor Elf. 1, 2, 3. This could be a 6/5. They just block here. Those trade probably no matter what. Same with this beetle. Yeah, not loving the position we're in. I think we're just going to damage, combat without using the mercenary. Want it as a blocker. Yup, they chump. Yeah, this is gonna get tough when they forge their own destiny onto this hunter. Rumble into a Chrysalis. Oh, they're running some Ponza, I see. Seems like that could lose us a game if we only have 1 land. They have a Chrysalis. I think we're trading the Bone Picker with the Hunter now, unfortunately. Take 5 trample, and then the trap hits us too. Pretty bad. But it's so big that it's hard to block otherwise, and these ones we can at least block with these growers. I guess if they don't attack, we don't have to worry about that. And they don't, just want to keep their guys back. Link Breaker's not bad. 2 more creatures to sack. But they have so much spawn. This is when we need unblockable. I've been getting a lot of suggestions for cards, which is great for trample and unblockability, and I have several I want to try out. None in the deck yet, though. So, yeah, I guess we just got to get through the spawn somehow. 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be like 6 bigger, but then we have no chump blockers. Yep, they block indeed. They do sack, so we grow our guy as much as they grow their Chrysalis. We're going to lose 5 down to 9 here. Heavy Utopia Sprawl. Try to spruce up one of these basics that aren't even full art. They're passing. It's fine. Infestation Sage. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expendable creatures. So if we attack with all 3 of these, no matter what they block with, we can get in for a good amount. The problem is then we don't have enough on back for trample. So maybe I leave 1 of these back, but I attack with a beetle so that we get in for 2. And then this can block pretty much everything here, trade, and we'll survive. I think that's what we do. I think we start attacking with 2 guys. We'll go with the beetle because it's got 1 more toughness, so it's going to survive against like a boarding party a little easier. We'll get to save 1 more creature from it. If they just chump both, can't do much about that though. Sack, sack. Well, they got a new card here, so we'll see if they get more fodder. Otherwise, they got to start losing Arbor Elves and other notable creatures. Another Sprawl and a Wild Growth. I see they've been getting some very good draws here. I love to see. Passing it back to us. I want to make a mercenary flyer on the end step here. Flyer means we could get in. No, because they got 3 reachers. Block, block, block. Kill 1. They still. Yeah, I think it's fine. Card draw would be great, though. Bone Picker's fine. Maybe that means we can attack with a Bone Picker. It's trading for this. They're going to get thrown here, which is really annoying. But, I mean, I could take the initiative. Like, if I attack with everything, I could. In fact, if I attack with everything, could I just win? I probably should have been calculating this earlier. They have 6 blockers, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which means that we're only dealing 3. So not quite lethal, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, yeah, so we put them to 1, and we take the initiative. They have to block something that with this that dies. They have to block 1, 2, 3, 4. We can probably make sure those 4 die. And then they get to keep 1 creature. But then we have a Bone Picker. So if they keep the Avenging Hunter, that doesn't quite kill us. And we have a Bone Picker. Plus we have some extra blockers. I think if we swing all out, things will be okay. We're not quite going to get there, but I think it's looking decent. Maybe we should have done this a turn or 2 ago, but I think the extra creature that we got here that kind of pushed my mind to say, oh, we can do this, was kind of necessary. Like putting to 1 versus putting to 2 is pretty big, because then any attacker is lethal. So that's a big difference. They're blocking the Hunter on the feeder, though, so that's one that I could kill if they do end up doing that. Okay, they're trying to keep their these are the two that are probably going to survive, but neither of them have trample. If they get a Nyxborn, it's probably going to kill us. They're taking 3 here. We get a basic, that doesn't matter. We have to sack 1 to trade these. This one's dying anyway, so we might as well sack that. I'd have to sack 5 to kill this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could deal them. Well, I have to get in for at least 1, so I can't do all 5 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Trade, or rather eat. They just have a boarding party, but this has to sack something. Otherwise, I could sack this beetle. Then the Arbor Elf will live, so they'll have an Arbor Elf and a boarding party, but we'll have a Bone Picker, but nothing else. I think we're just going to have to let these 2 live, but then we can sacrifice these for blockers, and we're going to have to hope they don't get a Nyxborn Hydra. So we are going to sack 1 to trade here, but I don't think we're sacking 3. Mercenary's already dying, so let's sack that. Oh, I guess 3 isn't that much because this feeder's dying too. Let's sack here, grow, sack here, because I don't need to hit them for 3, I just need to hit them for 1. I'm going to assume they don't have removal, but yeah, the feeder is going down, and we'll sack the Sage just to keep the feeder alive. I think that seems worth it. So now this eats this, these trade, this eats this, and this eats that. And they get in for 2. I think that seems reasonable. Now, if they've been holding back a Hydra with the intention of attacking us with it, or like waiting for us to attack, then good on them. Or if they top deck it, also the same. But I feel like the Avenging Hunter, even if it already has trample, still just has more power, so it makes sense. They get a boarding party, that's pretty good. Do a rumble into a Nyxborn Hydra, but they can only do that for 3. I can chomp, so that's not quite lethal. They do choose the Hydra. That's closer than I was hoping it was going to be, but we still have another blocker with this Link Breaker. They put this on a boarding party, or I guess the Chrysalis are the same size. But that's only going to be 9 trample, which is lethal, but we can block with the Bone Picker, absorb 2, and we have blockers for the boarding parties. So they are going to get the initiative, is the annoying part. But they have to get a pretty good creature, one that kills us, that is, for them to survive here. So we get this. Photo blocks, block here, block here. Oh, I actually shouldn't block the Writhing Chrysalis with the Bone Picker, because that'll give them another blocker. And this isn't lethal. I don't think there's any creature they can get from their deck that pings us for 1, like a Voldaren Epicure. So we actually should trade this here so that they only have the blocker from the throne. And then we have 3 lethal attackers. I think this is right. We got a warning. Writhing Chrysalis does not have lethal damage assigned to all creatures. So they tried to deal us the 9. But that's not quite how trample works. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta try for it. They get a Chrysalis, a Jewel Party, no, a Jewel Thief, or a boarding party, or a repurposer. All right, and then we get in for lethal here. Shambling Ghast. I'll play that. Swing with the team. Sack the blocked creature, and we'll get in for about 30 extra damage. Nice. All right, Snuff Outs seem good. Fangs seems good. If they only had green creatures, this would be good, Apostle's Blessing, but they have colorless and they have red, so that doesn't feel good. But I like the Fangs. I like Snuff Out. Bone Picker's great. This is one, yeah, this is again one where I like the extra chump creatures, but see, the thing that I'm liking a lot with the Bone Pickers is turn 1, Treasure Maker, turn 2, Corrupted Conviction, play 2 Bone Pickers. Phenomenal. We don't need Dark Writ to do that, though. Like, I understand the turn 1, or doing that on turn 1 and then getting 2 Bone Pickers is pretty good. But I feel like the Dark Writ I'm not loving, but the Bone Pickers I am quite enjoying. Like, in that match, they were pretty good. The fact that they had Evasion, the fact that they had Death Touch. Obviously, we weren't able to get there with just the Bone Pickers in the end, but they were pretty good up until they had a bunch of blockers. Like, this hand, I guess Dark Writ puts these 3 on the field, which we're going to do. I guess the fact that we have a second swamp, I don't hate the Dark Writ here, but if we only had 1 swamp, I would be hating it. Utopia Sprawl, there's a Sage, so we're going to Dark Writ. I could just go for the Freebooter Conviction to see if we get any Bone Pickers. That's still 2 mana, and then we can just play these 2 still, so I guess we'll try it. We also have a Scry, so it's not like impossible. I think I just like a Village Rites, though, so I think I'm going to keep that, even if it doesn't play into that as much. Oh, 2 more of them, not bad. And I'll play this just so that we have a little more aggro we want. You can start playing 3 drops. There's a Jewel Thief, Swamp. So I'll play a Sage, attack. If they block, I have to sack 3 of these to eat this, but then Feeder's pretty big, so I think I'm okay with it. If they block this, I will sacrifice it to the Feeder for damage, maybe still. Or I could just do a Rites. They do block. I think that's fair. Kind of want to get the card draw going, but I could just do the damage. I guess we're going to do a rights this turn anyway, right? So we might as well do it here. See what we get first before we decide on anything else. Yeah, so I think we'll wait on the other sack until the beetle's down next turn. Seems all right to me. So we got it for 1 damage. Woo. Arbor Elf and a Repurposer. I mean, 3 drops instead of 4 drops I'm okay with. You get in for 3. We will take. Reaping could be good. We get a beetle. You already have 2 creatures in our grave. If I attack with this, 1, 2, 3, but they double block and it's kind of bad. So I think we're just gonna conviction this to grow the beetle, play another sage, and this sitting on back, sitting back isn't bad. I guess if we attack now, 1, 2, 3, 4, but it's still only a 5/5. So yeah, we're gonna sit back, but this beetle does hold back both their 3/3s, which is nice. And then next turn I'll probably start leaving up this Reaping the Graves. I think they tapped Arbor Elf to untap this, but it was already untapped, and they lost the mana, and then they tapped 2 forests. Didn't cast anything because they didn't have the 6 mana they needed. So that's pretty unfortunate for them. Another Village Rites. I mean, I'm loving them. Let's keep them coming. I could do it now, and then I could Reaping for 2, or I could just wait to do it on their turn. They're going to cast at least 1 spell, assuming they tap their mana right. Then we'll Reaping for 3, get back 2 Sages and a Freebooter. I think that's better. I think we'll just wait for them. I mean, I guess we might as well punch in for 2 here. Did I not attack with these insects last turn? I just played 1 of them. Or did we Village Rites? I don't know. I might have missed a damage. Somehow I can't remember. We've drawn 5 of our 13 lands, which is crazy. I don't mind having a couple of them with all the card draw we've been getting. I think 5 is good, though. All right, they tap first, then they untap it. They play a Boarding Party, which cascades, so actually that's going to make Reaping really good. Into a Jewel Thief. All right. I wouldn't hate a Malevolent Rumble. I guess we don't even have 5 guys to get back. We're going to sack this and we'll have 4. So they don't need to cast another spell. It's okay. Boarding Party is pretty cool, though, from our side, because we get to just chump it for basically free. They are attacking with their Jewel Thief. Okay, no. That would be crazy. They're looking at a 2/2, but little do they know. They do swing at the Boarding Party. So I will block. Village Rites. Draw 2. More Village Rites. Great. No problem with that. And then we're Reaping back all 4 of our guys. I like this. Now we get to replay all of them, and now these 2 can probably just attack with impunity because there's no way they're going to have big enough creatures to block. Nice. Yeah, drawn 5 lands here. Totally great with all this stuff we got going on. Play a Freebooter. That's our only Reaping, so we also don't need to worry about holding up stuff for more Storm. Play a Sage. I don't hate the idea of just Village Rites to try to draw more. Like, if we get another, even just so much as a Beetle before we sack all of these, we'll get a lot of value off of it. Another Sage, I don't think we need. I think we'll take something else. Another Beetle's great. Play that. Play a Freebooter. Sack the Freebooter. Dark Ret, we definitely don't need at this moment. Get a counter. Shambling Ghast can pick off a Spawn, which is just a blocker, which I think is fine. Or actually, it can just pick off an Arbor Elf. Reduce their mana. Because this is Treasure, this is Spawn, so they'll only have 4 left. I think that's good. Which means we'll play that and play 1 more Sage. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sacks that we can do. So even if they like triple block, I will happily take that trade. We should have swung with the insects. I forgot. I was too excited about our absolutely enormous creatures, or the soon-to-be absolutely enormous creatures, that I forgot 3 damage in the air, which is pathetic, if I could say so. It will block just with the Spawn. Well, we have 2 Beetles on board. We're not sacking some of this for more damage, so let's start with a Sage. Another Sage. Yeah, 3 more damage here would be pretty nice. I'm not going to sack all our insects, but Ghast, because I want to pick off that Arbor Elf. And that's 5 damage. And we have 5 insects, which I think is good. I like the flyers in case they do somehow manage to gum up the ground with, like, if they play Crystals here, they'll have more chump blockers for our big guys on the ground, but they'll only be able to block 1 of our insects in the air. And yeah. So they should be at 9, but that was my mistake. They have a Muan Volley Acid Moss. You knock yourself out. I have more than enough swamps in my 13 land deck. I also have a nice blocker for anything that they got attacking in. We'll just chump the Boarding Party. Actually, we'd probably sack 2 insects to eat the Boarding Party. Seems good. Snuff out. I don't see anything on the board that's problematic at the moment, so I'm just going to play these and save the Snuff out for something that is problematic, and this time we can swing all out, I think. They chump the Growers. Totally fine. We'll hit them for 5. They get a spawn, and we'll pass. All right, we got there. Very nice. All right, here we are in the last round. We have an okay hand. I think we're going to keep this one. Card draw, grower, and some dudes. No bone picker or dark writ, but at least we have 2 lands. This deck, I'm definitely a lot more hesitant to keep a 1-lander, especially if it doesn't have a good dark writ start, because the chances of drawing another land are so low. It's like 1 in 5, whereas in 17 lands, it's 1 in, 4-ish. So what are we starting on? Ghast, I think. Against blue, Snuff Out is D's, potentially. I mean, if it's Fey or Mono Blue, I think it's good either way. Mono Blue Terror, that is. I think we will play a Beetle and a Freebooter. I guess we might as well just get down another Ghast. Cycle Alorian. I think Selk plays Mono Blue Terror as well, so that's my guess. Last time I guessed that I was wrong. Modern Age, I'm wrong again. Looks like more... Deep Analysis. Looks like more of whatever that's called. Dimir Control. Okay, well, we'll play a Freebooter and just draw off of it. If it's Dimir Control, again, they don't usually have a lot of removal beyond Snuff Out, so we might be okay. We don't need another Swamp. Get rid of that and draw 2. Swamp Carrion Feeder. That's fine. Swing for 4. I think we want to Village Rites while they're tapped out. Grow our guy, draw a card, make a treasure. Dark Writ, not great. We'll get this Carrion Feeder down too. They draw and discard again. Sneaky Snacker, yep. Mental Note. Get the Snacker back. Can't do anything about that. Mere Terror then with the Mental Note, I think. Brainstorm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No land. That's pretty good for us. Link Breaker, okay. So we can just hit for 5, 6, 7, 8 if we want and pick off this Snacker. Even if they bring it back, it's tapped. We have a Snuff Out for the Modern Age. I think that seems pretty good. Getting in for the damage while we can, while they're missing land drops is good. So this is 8. Oh, actually 8, 9, 10. Dang. Yeah, let's do that and just kill the Snacker. Also, if they play a Terror, we have a Snuff Out for it. So play that and pass. Down to 5. Which makes either of these lethal. They have a Mental Note. 2 Snuff Outs. Well, didn't draw them, but that's okay. They do that in their upkeep. Yeah, because they brainstormed. So I guess that's why they drew them, but they know they are bad. So they could play a Terror here, but then we can Snuff Out 1 and we have a lethal attacker on the other one. Nice, got the first game. Once again, Tormods, and they have to be on Terror, right? If they're running Mental Notes. It feels like a Terror Control hybrid. Don't think we need Apostle's Blessings again. Don't think we need Fangs, maybe 1. Snuff Out's fine against Vector Glider. I think the only reason to run the Mental Note is Snuff Out, or rather Terror. I think we keep a couple of those. Or we just go with the Tormods and like try to make them chump play. Could cut all of these, is that crazy? Or maybe we cut a couple Link Breakers. Yeah, let's keep a couple Snuff Outs, just in case. Alright, we're on a mulligan. We do have a Tormod script. Oh, we're on a mulligan again, unless we just want to go with the Tormods. Don't think so. Okay, well, we've been able to dodge it so far, but this is when Dark Writs absolutely suck. Obviously, this would be a 2-land hand. It would be fully keepable. We keep a a Freebooter, and like 2 card draw. But we're down to 4 here, so this is tough. Do we keep a Snuff Out because we're going to be on the back foot so much? I think we keep 2 lands. Or do I just keep 1 land? I could just go Sage, Beetle, Rights. So turn 1 I Sage, turn 2 I Beetle, turn 3 Rights. I think that might be the play. If I keep 2 lands and I draw a 3rd land anywhere, I'm gonna like really wish I didn't have that Swamp. And like, I don't think we're gonna have enough value to get us across. Whereas if we only have 1 land, we can maybe still get there. So yeah, I think this is what we play for. Conviction, let's just start with our Sage. They cycle Alorian, get that island. Hold up Counterspell. They could be Fey, too. Fey and Terror. Okay, there's that Swamp. Let's attack for 1. I think we just play Mortician Beetle. Hope that doesn't get countered and leave up one of these. If it does, that's fine. We will just draw 2 while they're tapped out. Reaping could be okay. We have 2 creatures in the grave. Aquifer for them. Bone Picker. Okay. That probably just gets countered if we Village Rites the insect. Maybe the Village Rites gets countered, though. Or I could just leave up Reaping, but I don't think that's as good. because I'd rather have Reaping when it's for 3 if Bone Picker's in our yard too. They have a Dispel. When we get our Bone Picker down, maybe this can carry us there. It's only a 6-turn clock. Mental Note, 5 spells in the yard. Modern Age, Snacker, another Mental Note, get back the Snacker. Pretty good. And another Swamp. I mean, I'm glad I didn't keep that first one, but I also wish I didn't draw. We mulliganed to 4 because we didn't have Swamps in our first 3 hands, and now they're rubbing it in our face. Discard a Modern Age. There's a Terror. Another Terror. We only have 2 creatures in our grave, but we kind of got to get them back, right? I think the Sage is more important. No, we only have... Yeah, because they played 3. They played 2 spells, so we have 3, so I guess we'll target 2 of these at the Sage. 1 at the Beetle. So yeah, they Spell Pierce the one on the Beetle, so we'll only get back 1. Carrion Feeder. Let's see, if I swing for 3, is this a winning play? No, we're going to have to trade this with one of these Terrors. So let's just play these out and pass. I would love to attack, but it's just not feasible. If we have a way of winning this, it's by trading with a Terror, chumping the other, and then getting another Bone Picker to trade with the other, and then something else. Could also trade with a Snacker, but that doesn't seem good enough yet. Might as well just wait on that, since it'll probably come back. Brainstorm. Beetle. I guess I'll play a Beetle. Pass to them. I block here. I think the only way we get out of this is get this Beetle up to be big enough to block the Terror. I think we just block here. We took out our Unexpected Fangs, so we don't really have a great way to a Mental Note in combat here. Another Snacker. Lucky them. We don't have Fangs, so we don't have a great way to make it so that we can just race. And if we did, that would be pretty good. They have the Fangs there. That's why. Fair enough. Another Feeder is not going to cut it. So they have 10 damage on us. So we got to just attack. No blocks from them. No blocks from us. We'll hit them for 7. They gain 3, so they're at a virtual 14. If they swing with everything, Brainstorm here, they get another Snacker. We're dead next turn, but if we get the right sequence of draws, maybe we have a shot. Even a Village Rites is kind of tough because we don't have anything to sack to it. Extract a Confession. Yep, they're going to get our Feeder. Idiot, it grows the Beetle. And another Terror. Okay, I don't think we're getting out of this one. Shambling Ghast ain't going to cut it. All right, ideally we get to have 3 more cards in our hand and be on the play this time. On the play is for sure. I am not sure if I want 1 Fangs here. Because like in that situation, if we do get on the back foot, having just the ability to get a Fangs isn't bad. Maybe we cut 1 Snuff Out, because they only have 4 Terrors and 4 Vector Gliders that I care about with the Snuff Out. And also just, ideally, if we're on the beatdown, we don't need them. We also didn't see a Tormod's Crypt, so there were a lot of sideboard cards we could have gotten there. It would have been good. Or sideboard and main deck cards. This is not good. It's a turn, I mean, it's 4 of our lands. It's a turn 1 Beetle with an Unexpected Fangs. That's not going to cut it. This one's a lot better. Still not quite what we need because we can't turn 1 the Bone Picker. We can turn 1 a Gixian and a Sage, and we can also get a Tormod's Crypt down. So I think we get rid of the Snuff Out since we're already going to be holding off the Terrors, ideally. And we just go for this, which is not the greatest play, but if we follow it up with a Village Rites... Oh, I should have cast that Tormod's Crypt. That was a pretty big deal, because if they have a Spell Pierce, it's pretty bad. Let me play this Freebooter. Attack. I'm not used to having Tormod's Crypt for free. I guess I'll pass. Should have had that on turn 1. If they now have mana up every turn and I can't get it through a counterspell, it's going to be pretty bad, but we will see. Ice Tunnel. If I just draw a land here, I can get it through a Spell Pierce. But that's a Carrion Feeder. That's not bad, though. It grows this. Oh, it can also get a Bone Picker down. Okay, that's pretty good. Play this. Sack the Freebooter. Stay equal on damage. But I want to scry so that I know what's up first. Swamp. Is it important enough I get Tormod's Crypt through a Spell Pierce? Yeah, I think the only way that we kind of lose here, because we have such an aggressive start, is by them getting a bunch of Serpents. So I actually do think I'll keep this. And then we'll swing. Or Bone Picker. Should have done that pre-combat, because that was an extra damage from the treasure. That's my mistake. And it's also possible they just hold up full counterspell then with the Tormods, but they got to do something, because we have stuff happening. Oh god, I wish we had this Tormods down. I have Throne, potentially, because they already get 4 spells. If they Thought Scour, they could definitely get lucky, get 2 Terrors down. They could Brainstorm and Thought Scour. They don't need to get lucky, but then they can only play 1. Looks like they're extracting a Confession here, so that's going to kill the Infiltrator. I can't do anything about it. Unfortunate. Oh, I should have sacked this on the, I don't know what I'm so frazzled by this, this Tormod's Crypt. I'm so worried about making sure it goes off. I should have sacked the Sage at the end step so that I would have 1 more damage here. As is, we have 6. Still, next turn we have 7, so it's not the end of the world, but we are going to cast this Tormod's Crypt. And I don't think there's any reason to do it now. We'll do it in their upkeep in case they do anything at the end step here. If they play down 1 Terror for 4 mana, I think I'm okay with that. Sneaky Snacker, that's fine. End step, don't forget to do this. Reaping is not amazing. We get to attack here, they trade with the Bone Picker, take 4, which makes this lethal next turn. Could just attack with these two, They also take 4, or they just lose this, in which case we still have the Bone Picker. They could just keep the Snacker though, and then next turn they get to use it as a chump blocker. That seems bad. So let's get rid of it with the Tormods. Could just sack it, but then they still have it, and so that doesn't help either. So we'll just pass here. Still only 3 spells, but if they play a Terror now, I guess it's not terrible for them. They got something. Freebooter. Play this pre-combat? I would like to, because I'd have another sack. I'm not sure what they could have. I mean, if they counterspell this, it doesn't really matter. It's going to happen sometime anyway. If they don't, you could obviously just have a cast down. Suffocating Fumes, okay. But now I can just hit for lethal, because I can sack both of these. This is going to be a 4/4, and we'll attack for lethal. All right, kind of was trying to throw with that Tormod's Crypt that I'm not used to, but luckily, part of me did not let that happen. All right, so we got a 4-1, which is obviously a sweet record, but specifically, we also got 3 2-0s, and our 1 loss was a 1-2. We did also lose a match, or a game rather, to Selk, so just trying to show some of the power of the deck. 4-1, obviously a great record, not quite a trophy, we're still trying to get there, but a lot of 2-0s is just also really good. Winning 9 out of 12 games among those matches is a pretty good win rate. I mean, on win rate, that's 75%, small sample size, obviously, but this deck has legs, and this version has wings as well. Pretty much my thoughts are what I said in the middle of the league. Bone Picker seems good. I understand why people have been suggesting it. I think it's one that's probably going to be worth it in the long run, so I'm probably going to start trying it in my iterations. I did not like the Dark Ritual. I think the Dark Ritual is trash. It made us not only mulligan to 4 that one time, which then led us to lose terribly, but also it just was not that impressive. I think there was only 1 or 2 games where we were like, it was really good. We had that one game against Mono Red where it was just 3 1/1s. That didn't do anything, but obviously when it's Freebooter into Village Rites into 2 Bone Pickers, it's great. But as I was saying before, you can still just turn 1 a Freebooter, turn 2 a Village Rites or Conviction, and then still play 2 Bone Pickers on turn 2. Now, I understand 1 turn difference is a big deal because that's 6 damage you didn't hit for. It's an extra turn that they can get removal. So I'm not saying that's not relevant, but I don't think that the version I'm going for, which is as consistent as possible, likely to put up the wins that you want at any time, I don't think it's going to be with Dark Rituals. I think it's going to look more like this, although I will probably still put in one of our tap lands, the Dross Pits I've been enjoying, and if I try to fit any Deadly Disputes back in here, we'll definitely go with Vaults of Whispers as well. But Bone Pickers were good, and I definitely want to try those out. Tormod's Crypt, solid against Terror, obviously. I don't think anyone's saying Rotten Reunion is as powerful in one go as a Tormod's Crypt or a Nile Spellbomb. Against a Terror or a Dredge where you want to get rid of so much of their graveyard as opposed to just 1 or 2 pieces, then you're going to want the Tormod's Crypt. But I think the versatility of the Rotten Reunion being an instant speed, basically a combat trick, because you can instant speed, sack, and pump all your growers. It can be protection against a board wipe. If all of your guys are at 2/2s, then you can make a guy out of nowhere. So I think all of the utility that this grants, it's also just a creature that can attack in for damage and also sacks itself. So if you're missing sack outlets, it can still grow your beetles and things. So I think I still like this better than the Tormod's Crypt. Of course, I like Life Staff, Snuff Out, and Fiend. I didn't get to try the Apostle's Blessings. Obviously, we would bring these in against like a Gardens opponent or anybody who's running just tons and tons of removal. But otherwise wasn't able to play that. And then Fangs is always a solid card. We didn't really get one off in this league, but that's okay. So, sweet deck. Going to be playing more Bone Pickers, so don't worry about that. But Dark Rits, after 1 league, I don't think I'm feeling it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.